The date is February 2nd, 2025. A Wikipedia page was created in 2015. It profiles a senior CIA officer. That officer holds an SES-4 rank. SES-4 is the civilian equivalent of a general officer. He oversaw sensitive Middle East missions. That page vanishes. No public explanation is provided. 10 days later, the CIA declassifies 472 pages. The pages come from the firmware program. The declassification ties to FOIA request RDP 2025-00-472. The documents cover the CIA's secret non-lethal support operations in Syria. Those operations ran from 2010 to 2014. One name appears 17 times across that batch. Every occurrence is fully redacted. The margin annotation reads, Prot. Ident. This is no coincidence. The year is 2011. The Syrian crisis begins with peaceful protests. Those protests are violently suppressed. Clues in later declassified documents confirm a key timeline. The CIA launches FIRMWARE that same year. FIRMWARE is a program designed to provide non-lethal support to Syrian rebel groups. In 2025, New York Times journalist Adam Goldman files a Freedom of Information Act request. That request demands access to the full set of firmware files. It directly triggers the partial declassification of document batch RDP 2025-00472 on March 12, 2025. On March 18, 2025, the National Archives and Records Administration, known as NARA, releases Report No. 2025-0418. The report confirms one critical, unassailable fact. The redacted officer's Wikipedia page was deleted from an IP address registered to the U.S. Department of Defense. The IP address is 199.252.192.47. This chain of events links directly to 2011 WikiLeaks GI files. One specific document stands out. It is labeled Inside EU 7909, dated June 2, 2011. It references a formal proposal from then European Commission President José Manuel Barroso. That proposal called for injecting funds into a narrow set of Lebanese banks. April 2025 brings statements from two high-stakes, knowledgeable witnesses. First, former CIA officer John Kiriakou. He testifies under oath before the U.S. Commission on State Secrets. Second, former CIA Deputy Director Michael Morell. He speaks publicly on his hit podcast Intelligence Matters Star. The official account from U.S. government authorities is clear. It is laid out in two precise, on-the-record statements issued in March 2025. First, CIA spokesperson John Kirby issues a public statement on March 15, 2025. His exact words are, "The agency has not ordered any Wikipedia page deletion, nor any intentional redaction of names in declassified documents related to past operations." Second, the U.S. Department of State publishes an official press release on March 20, 2025. The release states, all 2011 operations to support Syrian rebels were fully funded with CIA funds formally declared to Congress, totaling exactly $12 million. Finally, on March 25, 2025, the FOIA Appeals Board rejects Adam Goldman's request to unredact the senior officer's name. The board stated justification, a risk to national security linked to ongoing operations in the Middle East. But a key detail undermines that claim. The CIA has not acknowledged any official Syria-Lebanon operation since 2019. First contradiction. CIA spokesperson John Kirby states on March 15, 2025, that the agency never ordered any Wikipedia page deletion or intentional name redaction related to past operations. The National Archives and Records Administration directly contradicts that claim. Its March 18, 2025, report number 2025-0/18 confirms the redacted officer's Wikipedia page was deleted. The IP address used is registered to the U.S. Department of Defense. The address 199.252.192.47. A second document drives the contradiction even deeper. A CIA file was declassified by error on March 20, 2025. It is logged under batch RDP 2025-00473. It reveals the agency implemented identity protection measures for former personnel on February 1, 2025. That was 3 days before the Wikipedia page vanished. Second contradiction. The U.S. Department of State claims on March 20, 2025, that all 2011 Syrian rebel support funds were limited to $12 million. That sum was, they say, fully declared to Congress. But declassified lines from the FIRMWARE program tell a different story. The lines are dated June 4, 2011, logged under batch RDP 2025-00472. They reference European partner funds not included in the congressional budget. Those funds total $47 million. A 2011 WikiLeaks GI file amplifies the discrepancy. The file is labeled Insight EU 7909, dated June 2, 2011. It mentions a €50 million EU injection into Lebanese banks for off-budget stabilization projects. But the single most important document in this chain had not yet been found. The evidence exists across 4 categories: public records, declassified documents, official agency confirmations, and sworn witness testimony. First, NARA report number 2025-0/18. It is dated March 18, 2025. It formally confirms the SES-4 officer's Wikipedia page was deleted on February 2, 2025. The deletion came from the U.S. Department of Defense IP address 199.252.192.47. Next, CIA document RDP 2025-00473. It was declassified by error on March 20, 2025. It reveals the agency adopted an identity protection for former personnel measure on February 1, 2025. That was 3 days before the Wikipedia page vanished. The FIRMWARE program batch RDP 2025-00472 adds critical weight. It was declassified on March 12, 2025. It contained 17 systematically redacted mentions of the SES-4 officer. Every single redaction carries the margin annotation prot. Ident. Témoignage. On April 3, 2025, former CIA officer John Kiriakou testifies under oath. He appears before the U.S. Commission on State Secrets. His exact words, "I know that name." He's the man who coordinated money transfers through Lebanese banks for Syrian rebel groups in 2011. Kiriakou adds one critical detail. The redacted officer led the CIA's Directorate of Special Operations, DORS, Syria-Lebanon unit from 2010 to 2013. He reported directly to Michael Morell's supervision. On April 10, 2025, Michael Morell confirms a key point on his hit podcast * Intelligence Matters star. "I cannot comment on that name," he says, "but I can say that 2011 operations in Syria required coordination between the CIA and European partners we have never publicly disclosed." The WikiLeaks GI files fill in the remaining gaps. First, document Insight EU 7909, dated June 2, 2011. It references José Manuel Barroso's proposal for a €50 million injection into Lebanese banks. Second, a WikiLeaks file labeled Syria-Lebanon, dated June 15, 2011. It explicitly mentions undeclared financial flows from U.S. partners through those same Lebanese institutions. When assembled, these pieces of evidence expose a far larger cover-up. The redaction of the SES-4 officer's name does not merely protect a retired CIA employee. It hides a 2011 secret agreement between the CIA and the European Commission. That agreement was never disclosed to the US Congress. It was never disclosed to the European Parliament. No formal notification was given. No recorded vote was held. The redacted officer served as the exclusive coordinator of that secret deal. He managed the $47 million in undeclared European partner funds. Those funds are referenced in the June 4, 2011, FIRMWARE records. He also oversaw the €50 million injection from Barroso's proposal. That proposal is detailed in WikiLeaks GI file Insight EU 7909. All that money flowed through Lebanese banks. It was used to support Syrian rebel groups. These combined funds total nearly 5 times the $12 million the U.S. Department of State publicly declared. No parliamentary body, US or European, ever authorized the spending. Inference: the available evidence suggests the Wikipedia page deletion and systematic document redaction are a deliberate cover-up. The goal is simple. Prevent the redacted officer's name from being publicly tied to José Manuel Barroso and the European Commission. That link would detonate a diplomatic and political scandal of massive scale. The European Union has never acknowledged providing covert support to Syrian rebel groups. This case is no distant historical footnote. It directly impacts 2025 current events. First, a March 2025 Wikimedia Foundation report. It reveals a disturbing pattern. 12 Wikipedia pages linked to current and former CIA officers were deleted over a 6-month period. All deletions traced back to US government IP addresses. This points to a systematic practice of erasing digital traces. Then there is the FOIA Appeals Board's March 25, 2025, decision. The board justifies its refusal to unredact the officer's name with one single claim: a risk to national security linked to ongoing operations in the Middle East. But the CIA has not acknowledged any official Syria-Lebanon operation since 2019. Inference: the available evidence suggests the banking and coordination networks the redacted officer set up in 2011 remain active in 2025. Those networks are likely being used for other classified operations. No US or European authority has ordered a formal investigation. No one is probing the direct contradiction between CIA spokesperson John Kirby's public statement and the NARA and CIA declassified documents. No one is investigating the undeclared European funds used to support Syrian rebels. The redacted SES-4 officer's name is not a secret to everyone. John Kiriakou knows it, he testified under oath. Michael Morell knows it, he supervised the officer's unit. Every senior CIA official knows it. The National Archives and Records Administration holds the full Wikipedia page deletion logs. The declassified firmware documents contain redacted signatures. Those signatures could be unscrambled with basic forensic analysis. But one question hangs over every piece of evidence. Why would the US government go to such lengths to protect a retired CIA officer? One who left active service more than 12 years ago. Using justifications tied to ongoing operations? One partial answer sits in the WikiLeaks files. The €50 million from the European Commission was never authorized by the European Parliament. Who signed the order to release that money? Subscribe to The Truth They Hide. Don't miss our upcoming episode exposing the European paymasters behind the 2011 secret Syria fund transfers.